Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Taanis Chaf Zayin. We are holding 4 lines from the top of the Amud. Elohin Ma'amados, Levishenemar Tzav Es Bnei Yisrael V'chulu. The Mishnah presents a question. You mentioned something about Ma'amados, those representatives in Yerushalayim. What are they? What exactly is this? Elohin Ma'amados. And then the pasuk continues with a Mishnah continues with the pasuk. Levishenemar Tzav Es Bnei Yisrael. Now the pasuk doesn't seem to answer the question. Ma'ika Amma, what do you mean to say? You start with a question. Elohin Ma'amados. How do you define? What exactly are these Ma'amados? Please describe them for me. And you come back with a pasuk. Tzav Es Bnei Yisrael. How does that answer the question? The Mishnah means as follows. There are really 2 questions presented here. Firstly, Elohin Ma'amados. What exactly are these Ma'amados? Number 2, Uma'atam Tiknu Ma'amados. For what reason were the Ma'amados established? And then the Mishnah comes back with an answer to question number 2. So first we relate to the most recent question, which is the more basic question, which will allow us to understand how exactly were these Ma'amados arranged. If we know the reason, we know the purpose, we know the goal, it's going to help us understand what exactly they were. So we come back with an answer to the second question. Why? The answer is Levishenemar Tzav Es Bnei Yisrael V'amarta Aleim Es Karbonei Lachmei Leishai, which indicates that every one of Klal Yisrael is meant to have a chelek, is meant to participate, to contribute in the Karbonos Tzibur, in this Karban Tamid, by way of the Machzas HaShekel, that we all contribute. Now, the pasuk continues, Tishmeru lahakriv libi moyadai, and the Mefarshim bring this free. Tishmeru tells you that an owner of a carbon needs to be there, needs to observe the akrovas carbon. It's a personal offering. You have to be there to participate in the process. Okay, so knowing that, we'll have the question. If so, the carbon tzibur, which belongs to every one of us, how is it going to be brought without the owner standing there? So now that we know why we need representatives, we will go on to explain, to describe how exactly they did it. It was meant to address a concern. The pasuk requires presence of owner during Hakravas Karban. How did that work? By Karbanas Tzibur. That's why the earlier Nevi'im, which Rashi says is Shmuel and David, they were Mesaken, a rotation, Esrim Va'arba Mishmaris, 24 groups, 1 group per week. So you'd get about a little bit more than twice a year. 24 groups. I'll call Mishmar. Now every Mishmar, which pretty much split Klal Yisrael, entire Klal Yisrael, into groups, Kohanim, Levim, Yisraelim, in each Mishmar. Now every Mishmar had representatives. Hayamamad b'Yushalayim, Shal Kohanim, V'Shal Levim, V'Shal Yisraelim, which means like this. The Kohanim was split into 24 groups. So were the Levim. Now by Kohanim and Levim, those groups would go up to Yerushalayim. They served in the Mikdash. So it's your week, go to Beis HaMikdash. Whether you're a Kohen or a Levi, but the Yisraelim, there's too many. Even if you split Yisrael into 24, it's just too much. They don't need that many Yisraelim in the Beis HaMikdash to watch the Karbanis. So when it comes to Yisraelim, Farshim explained, there were 2 aspects to the Mishmar of the Yisraelim. Those that lived in Yerushalayim proper, they would just go to the Mikdash. So every week featured a different group of Yisraelim, which belonged to that specific Mishmar. Whereas the Yisraelim that belonged to that Mishmar that did not live in Yerushalayim, they would gather in their own respective cities, gather in the shuls, fast, daven. so that the Korbanos should be successful, that Klal Yisrael should be protected from all harm. That was their job. So again, I'll call Mishmar and Mishmar. For every group, every Mishmar, every weekly group, Hayamamad B'Yerushalayim, there were representation. There were those who represented Klal Yisrael in Yerushalayim. That's the Mamad aspect of the Mishmar. Mamad is lashon of position. They were positioned. They were standing there in the Mikdash. Shal Kayhanim v'Shal Levim v'Shal Yisrael. Higiaz man Mishmar Lalis. So comes time for this week, for this group to go up. Kayhanim Levim Oil Yerushalayim. Exactly, the Kayhanim Levim of that Mishmar will go to Yerushalayim to serve, but the Yisraelim would not. Meaning, if you lived in Yerushalayim, you're there. So each week a different group of Yisraelim would observe the Karbanis in the Mikdash. And some of Farshim learned they would also daven and fast and read the Torah, but they were also very much busy standing by the Karbanis, observing the Akrava. Whereas Yisraelim, the outlying cities, wouldn't go up to Yerushalayim. It's your group, it's your week. Take off from work and you go daven, fast, for the sake of Klal Yisrael. Tanu Rabbanim. Esrim va'arba mishmaros be'Eretz Yisrael. There were actually 24 groups in Eretz Yisrael. U'shtei misri b'Yerichai. And there were 12 in the town of Yericha, which sounds like a total of 36. Asks the Gemara. Shtei misri b'Yerichai? You mean there were another 12 in Yericha? Nefishon lehutuva. Now we have too much. Too many groups. 24 plus 12, which is above and beyond the 24 that we're looking for. Ella rather him out like this. Shtei mesrei. Meihen b'Yerichai. 12 of those 24 were in Yericha. Explain the Mefarshim. It means like this. We spoke about the Kohanim Leviim who traveled up to Yerushalayim. Part of that group, part of Kohanim and Leviim, would, instead of going directly to Yerushalayim, would make a detour through Yericha. That's where they got supplies, food and drink, to supply the Kohanim and Leviim in Israel in Yerushalayim. So half the Mishmar would end up in Yericha, pick up supplies, and then go to Yerushalayim. So that's what the Brisa meant. Half of the 24 would end up in Yericha, meaning half of the people, half of the members of each Mishmar would first go to Yericha to gather supplies. 12 of those 24 ended up in Yericha. Doesn't mean to say 12 groups, 12 Mishmaris hailed from Yericha or lived in Yericha. It means to say half of the members of each respective group would first go to Yericha to pick up supplies and then go to Yerushalayim. As the Brisa explains, Higia Azman HaMishmar Lalos. So comes time, or perhaps it's the Gemara explaining the Brisa. Higia Azman HaMishmar Lalos. So it's time for this group to go to Yerushalayim. Chatzi HaMishmar Oila L'Eretz Yisrael Yerushalayim. Right? Half the group goes directly to Yerushalayim. Chatzi HaMishmar Oila L'Yericha or Mi Yericha would pass through Yericha in order to pick up supplies, food and drink for their brethren in Yerushalayim. And it seems from the Farshim, this was specific to the Kohanim and Levim, who would actually make that trip up to Yerushalayim. Omar Vida Mashmol, Kohanim and Levim Yisraelim, unless you have adequate representation on all levels, Kohanim, Levim, and Yisraelim in Yerushalayim, it holds back. You can't do the akrov until they come. Some Mefarshim learn. Doesn't mean b'di'evet you can't be makar without them. It means that you wait around until they come. You have to wait until there's somebody representing Klal Yisrael on all levels. Kohanim, Levim, and Yisrael. Some Mefarshim learn that Kohanim and Levim as well had to be available for that. So the Kohanim and Levim who are not doing the avodah would stand by and they would serve as representatives for the Shevet Levi during Hakravas HaKarban. Masni Satana and Brisa we learned a bit differently. Rabbi Shimon Elazar Omer, Kohanim Levim and some add v'Yisraelim, right? Them, and also uklei shir instruments were needed. They are ma'akvanis carbon. They hold back the carbon. But what's the point of machlekes? He's adding instruments. Why? Mar savar ikar shira repeh. The first shita, who omitted instruments, holds true. The Leviim would sing their shira by the carbon, but the primary element of shira are the vocals. It's nice to have music to enhance the experience, but only the peh is ma'akev. The klei shira is not ma'akev. Umar savar ikar shira bekli. Reb Shimon holds no, music. That's what makes the shira. The instruments are crucial for the shira, and therefore you don't do the akrava without klei shira. Now, of course, the Mefarshim point out, the Gemara in Erechon says that shira is not me'akiv by a carbon. In fact, we had a Gemara back at the end of Rosh Hashanah. They weren't sure whether it's Rosh Hashanah or not. Going to some in the Gemara, they skipped the shira. Shira is not me'akiv, but it means to say, don't start until you have everything in place, if you can. So how many mishmaros do we have? We spoke about 24, but it wasn't always that way. When Klal Yisrael's population increased, the mishmaros increased, but they started with a low number. How much? Omar of Chama bar Gurya Omar Rav. It started as follows: Moshe taken land Yisrael shmonim mishmaros. During Moshe Rabbeinu's time, there were only 8 groups. Moshe was masakin arba'a min Elazar, v'dal mi Summer, 4 from Elazar's family, 4 from Isammar's family. Those were the 2 remaining sons. Nadav Avihu died in Parashat Shmini, so Aaron was left at Elazar's family, Isammar's family. Moshe Rabbeinu split them into 4 each, for a total of 8 groups. And presumably, the Mishmaros of Leviim and Yisraelim corresponded. The numbers corresponded to the ones that the Kohanim had. So there were 8 Mishmaros in total. But Shmuel, during Shmuel's time, the population, Kohanim, increased. V'midan al shesh esrei, he doubled it from 8 to 16 groups. But David, v'midan al esrei arba, he turned it into 24. Shnamar. The following psukim, there we find a reference to 24 families, 24 names, to indicate that there were 24 mishmaros. B'shnas arba malchus David. At year 40 of David's malchus, nidrushu v'yimtzu b'hem Gibur Echail B'Yazer Gilad. If you look at the psukim there, you find 24 names. Meisvei, how can you say that Shmuel turned it into 16 and David into 24? We have a brisa which says Moshe Tikkun Lahem Yisrael Shmonim Mishmaros. Arba'a me Elazar v'Arba'a me Isamar. Indeed, Moshe Rabbeinu started with 8, 4 from Elazar, 4 from Isamar. But David u'Shmuel Hamidan Elazar Arba. David and Shmuel together collaborated to turn it into 24 groups. It wasn't Shmuel turning it into 16 and David into 24. They both together upgraded from 8 to 24. Shnamar Hema Yisad David u'Shmuel Haraya B'Manasam. So how can you say it was just David and not Shmuel? Hachik Amar. No, the pasuk means by the effort, due to the hishtadlos of David and Shmuel Haramasi, he was called Shmuel Haramasi, he came from the place called Ramah. Due to their efforts, Hamidum Alasam Arba, it resulted in 24 mishmaros, but it was stage by stage. Shmuel turned it into 16, and David into 24. So both their efforts combined resulted in a 24 number. Continues the Gemara. Tani Yidach, or some Aguris. Meisvei, we're going to have another kasha on Rav Chama bar Guri Amar Rav, who maintained that in Moshe Rabbeinu's times, it was only 4 and 4, and then it changed into 16, and then it changed into 24. Moshe Tikkun Lahem Yisrael Sheshes Mishmaros. What do you mean? Moshe Rabbeinu made 16 groups. Shmonim Elazar, Shmonim Isamar, 8 from either family. Here's the kasha on Rav. It's not 4 and 4, it's 8 and 8. Ksharab, Ubnei Elazar, Ubnei Isamar. But eventually, when the descendants of Elazar increased at a rapid clip, at a greater rate than their counterparts Bnei Isamar, Cholkum v'midim al esrim ba'arba. They really divided the groups. It took Elazar's 8 and turned it into 16, plus Isammer's 8, that remained intact because Isammer's population didn't grow as fast as Elazar's. So it started 8 and 8. Elazar doubled to 16, combined with Isammer's 8, you have 24. Cholkum b'midum, that resulted in Al Esrim ba'arba, the number 24. Shnamar ve'yimatzu, b'nei Elazar rabim loshi agvarim, they found an increase, a substantial increase in the membership of Bnei Elazar's families. Meaning Bnei Yisamar greater than Bnei Yisamar. Vayichalkum l'Bnei Elazar Rashim l'beis avos shisha asar. So they turned Bnei Elazar into 16. L'Bnei Yisamar l'beis avos shmoina. Yisamar remained intact, stayed at a steady 8. Vaymer. They have another pasuk which says, how do they double the numbers? Base of echad, ochaz le'Elazar, that Elazar's family doubled. They added a base of a family, a mishmar, a group, to the ochaz, to the pre-existing, his pre-existing group. Ochaz means his part of the arrangement. They added another base of to the one that he had, meaning he started with 8, now he had 16. V'achuz ochaz li'Yisamar. Yisamar just remained the way it was. He held on. Achos means his part remained his part, untouched. So it seems pretty clear that we started with 8 and 8. And Elazar went from 8 to 16, plus Isammer's 8, that's 24. That's a kasha on Rav who says they started 4 and 4. Now we have a shaila before we conclude the kasha. What's the point of adding the next pasuk? What's the point of adding that? The point was because perhaps you can say that your interpretation of the pasuk is erroneous. Why? Maybe they all started, like we said before, 4 Elazar, 4 from Isamar. Perhaps you'll say, just like Elazar's population grew and ended up with 16 groups, Hachinami Nafishi B'nei Yisamar, likewise, B'nei Yisamar's family also grew. Although not at a rapid clip, not at a rapid pace as B'nei Elazar, but they also grew, and they doubled in size. And although they ended up with Shmoina, Mikar Abba Havu, that's because they started with 4. So meaning perhaps, let's say, that they started 4 from each family, like Rav says. Then Isamar doubled to 8 because of population increase, and Elazar doubled to 8 and went over to 16. That's what the psukim meant. Sure, it was disproportionate at the end. It doesn't mean they didn't start off on the same level 4 and 4 like Rav says. That's why I need the next pasuk. Tashma. That's why the next pasuk says, Beis av echad ochos le'Elazar, which tells you that by Elazar, we added a corresponding group to the previous group. Meaning, if we have 16 now, it indicates that he started with 8. V'achos Isamar held on to his portion. He started and ended with 8. There was no change in his number. That's a kasha. Tufta the Rav Chama bar Givya Marav, who told us it started with 4 and 4 per family. Rav Chama bar Gurya, you're right, Tanai. It's actually Machlekes Tanaim. So you found a brisa that disagrees with me. I follow the first brisa, that they started with 4 and 4 for a total of 8. So according to Rav, the starting point was 4 and 4, meaning they started with 8 during Moshe Rabbeinu's times. Eventually, it ended up with 24. According to the other brisa, they started with 8 and 8, and Elazar increased to 16. Isamar stayed at 8 for a total of 24. Tanur Rabbanan. Although in Bayis Rishon they ended up with 24. Right? We said Shmuel David established 24 mishmaris, but Arba mishmaris olam ben Agola. You meant to know that after the Churban and Golas Babel, when Yisrael came back to Yisrael, many remained behind for whatever reason. Perhaps they were afraid to risk it again. Yisrael is a spiritual place. They're concerned that perhaps they can't live up to standards. They stayed behind in Golas Bavel. And only 4 groups, 4 of these families, Arba Meshmoris Olam and Agoyla. Veluhen, Yedaya, that's number 1. Charim, Pashchor, V'imar. Omdu Nevim Shebeneim. The Nevim amongst them got up and said, look, we still have to have the number 24. We want to keep it at 24. Perhaps this was the Masorah. Perhaps we want to leave the door open for the other families to come back and join us. So what they do? We only have 4 families, 4 groups. They took these 4 groups and subdivided them. So each one of these groups turned into 6, for a total of 24. Balalum. Now, in order to determine who serves first and who serves second, they made a lottery, a girl. They took 24 pieces of cloth, Rashi says. On 6 they wrote Yedaya 1, Yedaya 2, Yedaya 3, Yedaya 4, Yedaya 5, Yedaya 6. These 6 subgroups of Yedaya. They took another 6 papers, they wrote Charim 6 times, Pashchor, etc. V'nosnu b'kalfi, they mixed them up, they put into the lottery box. Bo Yedaya steps forth a representative from Yedaya family, and Rashi in Erchan says, by way of Ruach HaKodesh, he was able to pick up his personal note. V'notal chalka, he picked up a note which said Yedaya, v'chelik chaver of sheish. And the next 5 were also related to Yedaya. They were subgroups of Yedaya. So he picks up, for instance, note 1 which says Yedaya 1. Puts his hand back in, picks up Yedaya 2, Yedaya 3, all the way to Yedaya 6. V'chein Pashchor, Charim. Then another fellow representing Charim group comes forth, and the same thing happens again. By way of Ruach HaKodesh, he picks out his personal note. V'notal chalka v'chelik chaber of sheish. V'chein Pashchor, v'chein Imar. This repeats itself again and again. Now they had a set system, an arrangement. Who goes first, who goes second. So the first 6 weeks were designated to Yedaya. All Yedaya's subgroups. The next 6 weeks, Charim, then Pashchor, then Imar. V'chein hisnu Nevim shebeneim. Now, the Nevim made the following condition. Shafilu yoyadiv or yoyariv. Rosh Mishmar. You see, during the Mikdash Rishon, Yoyariv was the Rosh. He was the first on the list. He was the one who served first in the Mikdash. Even if he comes back from Golas. Afilu Yoyariv Rosh Mishmaras Oila Lo Yidach Yedai Mimkaim. Yedai won't get pushed off from slot number 1. Ela Yedai Ikar. Yedai remains the Ikar. Yoyariv Tafala. He's secondary. But that means like this. The first 6 weeks were designated for Yedaya. Right? We said they had 6 subgroups. Now let's say a new Mishmar comes back up from Golas Bavel. How do we fit him in? So Rashi explains, we now condense the 6 subgroups of Yedaya. We turn it from 6 to 5. So the last slot is now available, is now open. And that's where we insert this new Mishmar Yoyariv. So Yedaya still has first choice, he still serves first in top of the list. But towards the end of his rotation, we slip in Yoyariv, etc., etc. So the more Mishmaras came back up, we slipped them in these available slots. By way of condensing those groups and making room for the other ones. Yisrael Shabboshem Mishmar, Miskansin Bahrain, V'Kern Masabricious. This goes on in the Mikdash in Yerushalayim. We have the Anshe Mamad. But the Anshe Mishmar, the rest of the Israelim who called Mishmar, so during your week, you took off, you gathered in your town, in your shul, you fasted, you davened, and you read in the Torah about Brias Ha'olam, in the beginning of Sefer Bereshis. Minan Emili, how do we know? What is the significance? Why do we read Parshas Bereshis at that point? Amar Yaakov or Amar Bas? To indicate as follows: Ilmali Ma'amodes, if not for the ma'amodes experience, Rashi says, iske karbonis, and everything that accompanies the karbonis, which are machaper and Klal Yisrael, which enable us to survive and the world to exist, because we sustain the world. The world wouldn't exist. Says Rashi off to the left. Amar Vasi, lefishel molim amadis, which means iske karbonis, sheisrael oisim, heino yukolin b'chaton. Klal Yisrael would not survive. We need that constant kapara and tshuva and reconnection to Hashem through karbonis, through tefillah. Umishein kolin. If Chas Yisrael, Klal Yisrael ceases to exist, Shemai Varas Ha'im D'Meschus Ani Miskayim, the world which is Oimid B'Schus Klal Yisrael will cease to exist as well. And that's why they will kairi those psukim describing Hashem's creating the world to indicate, look, the world hinges on this, rests on your tefillah, on your tshuva, on your karbanis, in order to give you chashivas what you're doing. Says the Gemara, Shenemar. How do we know? How do we see that connection between karbonis and existence? Shenemar, Vayomer Hashem Elokim. This is why the bris ben Absarim, Hashem promised Avram Avinu continuity. Klal Yisrael will exist, will inherit Eretz Yisrael. Avram turns to Hashem, Vayomer Hashem Elokim b'me'eda ki yiroshena. How will I know? Can you give me a guarantee? Give me some sort of security that this will take place. Amar Avram, Ribono shel Olam, he turns to Hashem, he says, Hashem, Shem Yisrael chayten lefanecha. I understand that you're telling me, you promised me, but maybe Klal Yisrael will be unworthy down the line. Maybe l'du chatoim, ata oisel lahem kedar hamabel. Perhaps you'll destroy them, like you did to der hamabel, or kedar hafloga. Amar le, Hashem tells him, love. No, I won't do it. Amar lefanav, so he turns to Hashem, Ribono shel Olam, hedi'eni. Tell me, how are they going to accomplish this? So the plan is that they exist forever. How? How does that happen? What about their Averis? Omar Lois, Hashem tells Avram, you know what the answer is? K'choli eglu mishaleshes, beis mishaleshes, v'ter v'goizel, as a carbon, which means there's always a way out. Sure, there are shortcomings, Averis, but the karbonis will be mechaper. Amar lefanav, he turns to Hashem, Ribono shel Olam, Teinach b'zman shebeis hamikdash kayim. That works when there's a mikdash. They can bring karbonis. B'zman shebeis hamikdash kayim atay aleim. But after the mikdash is destroyed, what's going to be with them at that point? Amar lo, Hashem tells him, Kvar tikanti lehem seder karbonis. I've arranged for them the seder, the psukim, the parshis, the masechtas, seder kodshim, which discusses karbonis. And you should know, even when there's no tangible Beis Hamikdash, there are no tangible karbonis. Bezman shekurin bahen, when they read, and the Chavetz Chaim Mishbura writes, kurin means they're immersed, they're learning it, they're engaged in it, they're experiencing the carbon experience through learning. Bezman shekurin bahen lefanai ma'ale ani aleim, I consider it kilu hikrivim lefanai, as though they're makar the karbonis. They have the same benefit. Vani moichel lehem al kol v'niseim, I forgive their averis. And that's why they read those psukim of Maaseh Bereshis, to indicate, look, we're involved in this crucial effort to bring tshuva, kapara, mechila, slicha, v'klal Yisrael, which keeps the world going. Because the world is only here b'schus Yisrael. Tanu Rabbanan. Anshe, if only going switches the gears to Anshe Ma'amad, referring to those in Yerushalayim, right? They were there at the Akravas HaKarbon. They would daven to Hashem that the Karbonis should be successful. However, the Yisraelim who were dispersed throughout the cities, they would gather to their shuls, fast 4 days, all throughout the week, from Monday to Thursday. And each day, had special meaning, special value, and corresponded to something specific, unique to that day, Basheni. On Monday they would fast and daven to protect the seafarers, Al Yerdei, the sea travelers. We'll soon see in Rashi why. Bashlishi, on Tuesdays, Al Hoychamid Baris, to protect the desert travelers. But Ravi, on Wednesday, Al Askara, Shloi tipul atinekas, to protect the toddlers from this askra sickness. B'chamishi, on Thursday, al ubris or menikais, the expectant and nursing women, Hashem should protect them from all harm. Uboris, the expectant women, they shouldn't miscarry. Menikais, the nursing women, shianikus b'neim, you should have the ability to nurse their kids. What's the connection? Let's go over to Rashi, around 7-8 lines up. Anshi mishmar oisin chavdal shoy bareim. They would fast, they would daven, b'sheni al yordei hayam. Why? The chsiv b'sheni, says Rashi, on Monday it says, yirokia b'soich hamayim. So on Monday, the seas were formed. Therefore it was in place to relate to it. Hashem protect the sea travelers. Bashlishi, al hochim et baris, tichsiv vatira yabasha. Tehiru uya yabasha lehilchea. Shlo yazuku b'chayis rois. Tuesday was when Hashem revealed the dry land. That's the time to daven. The things on dry land should go properly. The traveler should be protected. Bervi ala askara. Why? Wednesday was when the illuminators, sun and the moon, the stars were activated. If you look at the Chumash, is without the Vav, and the Gemara Darshans, Ma'aras, Lashon of Kalala. The illuminators can chas v'shalom bring about sickness. Perhaps the sun, as far as the overexposure, can perhaps bring cancer, sicknesses, and it was a time to daven. Things should function properly, and we should be protected from all harm, which can potentially emanate from these bodies. Val ubros, on Thursday, the ubros and the menikos should have the ability to function properly. What's the connection? On Thursday it says Yishitzu Amayim Sheretz Nefesh Chaya, as a time for reproduction, recreation, giving birth. So the ability to do that is sourced in Thursday. That was a time to daven for these things. Continues the Gemara. So from Monday to Thursday they fasted, they davened. By the way, the Maharsha says that these 4 aspects of tefillah correspond to the 4 experiences that a person may go through, which will generate a chiv of a carbon toida. Right? The Gemara Bracha speaks about the sea travelers, Holchayam, the Holchem Midbaris, the ones that travel in deserts, a cholesh nisrape, person recovers from a serious illness, and one who is yoytz in Beis Hasurim, came out of jail. These 4 people have to bring a carbon toida as a show of gratitude. And of course, I'll tell you to Hashem. By the way, once heard a nice mashal, a nice remez that the word Chaim includes all 4. Ches Yud Yud Mem. Ches is the Cholesh Nisrape. Yud is the Yordei Hayam. The next Yud is the Yoitzim Beis Asurim, and the Mem is the Hochem Midbar, is the one who went to the Midbar. So all 4 are Chayiv in carbon toida, and these 4 days that we just mentioned, they all include these 4 aspects. Each one corresponds to another day. So he says the first day was the Yerdei Hayam. Right? The Tuesday was Holchem Midbaris. The next day was the Askra, right? The illnesses, they should protect from illness. And the next day was the Ubers and Menikos. So he says the Uber, when he's born, is like a prisoner, released from prison. Interesting. Okay, so what about Friday? What about Shabbos? What about Sunday? Says the Gemara, Be'erev Shabbos, lo yoyu misanen. They wouldn't fast on Friday. Why? Mekaved Shabbos. They wouldn't interfere with Kaved Shabbos, whether it's because they have to prepare for Shabbos, that you conserve their energy, or so that one doesn't come rushing into Shabbos all famished. It's not Kaved Shabbos. Kavachim b'Shabbos atzma. Certainly, on Shabbos itself, fasting would interfere with Kaved Shabbos. So that's out. What about Sunday? Be'echad b'Shabbos, my time alone. Why not? So we have several reasons. Because concerned about the Christians. So Rashi here says, She'oisen oisa yom tov shalahem. That's the gersa we have. And in the Rashi in the Ein Yaakov, we have another couple of words there. Since it's their holiday, when they see Jews fasting on their holiday, I think that they're mourning the fact that it's a day of a holiday for the Goyim, and it can endanger the Israelim who are mocking, who are mourning, I should say, their Yom Tov. Now the Marsha asks, well, that all happened way later, towards the end of Bayis Sheni. But it seems that this was an ongoing minhag even before the Neitzrim came to the world. So he says perhaps this was their minhag all along, even before the actual religion of Nazareth was introduced. The Goyim would still celebrate Sunday. That's why it's called Sunday, right? The day that they worship the sun. So it's considered their day of worship. Now some others learn that the Gemara means a bit different. The Gemara means like this, that the refraining from malacha, that's what it means. Because during this Yemei Mama, they would fast, they would daven, they would not do malacha. So refraining from malacha at a time when they are observing it as a Yom Tov would perhaps be inappropriate, as though we are participating in their experience. So that's the other pshat in the Gemara. In any case, we don't fast on Sunday for this reason. Another reason, Rabbi Shmuel ben Achmeni Amar, Sunday is the third day since creation. A person was created on Friday, and Rashi says, B'chol yom shlishi hava cholosh. On a third day since experiencing a traumatic experience, a weakness sets in, as we find by the Anshe Shechem, right? It says, Vayiba yom shlishi b'yesum koyavim. Third day of Milah was a day of weakness for them. So Sunday is a day when a person is relatively weaker, and the rest of the week is a third day of Yitzira. So we don't want to take any chances. We don't want to overburden them and have them fast. Rish Lakish Amar, you know why we're weakened? We're playing Neshama Yisera, because we're missing out that Neshama Yisera which was taken from us the night before. And fasting on Sunday would be too difficult. Amar Rish Lakish, Neshama Yisera. There's an extra Neshama, extra dimension of Neshama. Rashi says, Neshama Yisera is an expansion of one's Neshama. Shemarchivim date lachila ushtia. His capacity increases. Capacity for Gashmias, capacity for Ruchnias. It increases. So that Neshama Yisera is nitana by Ba'adim B'Erev Shabbos. He gets it in Erev Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos, noitlun oisum imena. It's removed from a person on Motzei Shabbos shenemar. It says Shavas vayinafash. We learn Kimesh Shavas. Once he finished Shabbos, vayinafash means vay. Whoa, a cry of pain. Of the nefesh, we lost our nefesh. That's, by the way, why we smell our besamim on Motzei Shabbos, to restore somewhat that satisfaction that has now been taken from us. That tanag ruchni. We remember a couple of days ago, Hashem shows him the some sort of mashal for the schar l'olam haba. What was it? The balsam oil, the fragrant oil. And the Farshim explains it's the closest to olam haba you can get. The tanag reach. It's more of a spiritual, more of a ruchni experience, and that somehow compensates a bit for our loss of the neshama yisera. In any case, on Sunday, when a person is weakened by this experience, having the neshama yisera been taken away from him, we don't want to overburden him, and therefore we cancel the fast day on the Sunday. Okay, so we learned about the fact that the Anshe Mamad would daven in Yerushalayim, the Anshe Mishmar throughout the towns would gather in their cities, in their shuls, fast 4 days, daven for the success of the karbanos, daven that Yisrael should be protected from all harm. Every day had a separate, unique theme associated with it, corresponding to what happened during Brias Olam. And what would they do? They would have Kriyas HaTorah as well. They would read those psukim describing Hashem's creating of the world. Continues the Gemara. On Sunday they would read the first portion of Sefer Bereshis. Bereshis bara Elokim, where Hashem created the world, what Hashem created on the first day. And then we go over to Vayir Kiyah, which describes what Hashem created on the second day. Tana, we learned in the Brisa. Bereshis Bishnaim, that first parsha of Bereshis, which has 5 psukim, that was split between 2 oilim. 2 people got an aliyah on that section. Vayir Kiyah be'echad. The next segment, describing what Hashem created on the second day, that was read by 1 person, for a total of 3 people. That's the minimum. We need 3 people to be oilah. Bishlam Vayir Kiyah be'echad. We understand how Vayir Kiyah can be read by 1 person, plus a psuki havu. It contains 3 psukim, which is perfect for 1 person. El Bereshis Bishnayim, the first portion, Bereshis, how could you say 2 people would split it? Hey psuki havyan, it only has 5 psukim, but Tanan, Tanya, Hakara B'Torah, Al Yevchus Megillah psukim. And one is Kara B'Torah, and a minimum you have to have 3 psukim. Megillah speaks about the fact that it's Keneged Torah Nevi'im Uksuvim. Right, the number 3 is a very common number when it comes to Torah. Torah is that synthesis between heaven and earth. It's that third dimension. In any case, we need at least 3 psukim. So how can you take 5 and give it to 2 people? We have 2 answers. Rav Amar Doilig, they repeat. So the first oilah would do pasuk 1, 2, and 3 of a 5. Second oilah would come back and do 3, 4, and 5. So pasuk 3 was repeated, like we do on Chol Hamoed, Tosfos says. On Rosh Chodesh. Ushmuel Amar Pesach. Shmuel says they would take pasuk number 3 and split it into 2. So fellow number 1 got 1, 2, and a half, and the fellow behind him did a half, 4, and a 5. Says the more Rav Damar Doilik, my time Amar Pesach. Rav says we repeat. What's wrong with splitting the pasuk into 2? Because Sabra he held called Psuka le Paskei Moshe, a pasuk which was not split that way by Moshe Rabbeinu. We don't tinker with it. Anan le Paskin le. Therefore, better repeat than split. Ushmol Amar Pesach. He says we split. Umi Paskinan. How could you do that? Va'amar v'chanina. Kara. He was about Kara. Sar Gadol. Hayali. Eitzel. Rabbi Chanina Gadol. I tried very hard with Rabbi Chanina Gadol to allow me to split psukim. The only time he would allow me to split psukim was when I was teaching kids in order to give it to them in a bite-sized form. Because they're just training, they're just learning. It's not really a Kriyas HaTorah, but a proper Kriyas HaTorah, you can't split the pasuk artificially. Ushmol. So what does Shmuel do with that? How could he allow splitting a pasuk? Why was it allowed in that case? Because there was no alternative. Here as well, we're stuck. Typically, you don't split a pasuk, but here you have to. Ushmol Amar Pesach. Now Shmuel that says we split. My time Amar Doilik. What was wrong with just repeating like Rav? He was concerned that perhaps if you repeat, so you do the first oilah does pasuk 1, 2, and 3. Now you leave 2 psukim in that parsha. There's a gzeira b'shem ha'nechnasen, who are concerned about latecomers. V'gzeira b'shem ha'yetzin, I'm concerned about people leaving, rushing out of shul at that moment. Which means like this: the first oilah does 1, 2, and 3, and somebody leaves shul at that moment, he will think to himself, well, what's the second oilah going to do? And he wasn't there to experience it. He left shul in a hurry, but it must be that the second oilah would just do 4 and 5. That's what he's thinking. That's all that's left in the parsha. Now he erroneously concludes that an oilah can have 2 psukim. So that's Gzeira b'shem ha'yetzin. Gzeira b'shem ha'nechnasen means that when the second oilah gets up and does 3, 4, and 5, or he repeats 3, does 3, 4, and 5, this fellow that just walked in now, this latecomer, will think to himself, oh, so the previous oilah must have done just 2 psukim. He's not going to realize that the third pasuk is being repeated. Therefore, says Shmuel, to avoid any false impressions, you have to be careful. Don't skip. Skip skipping. Just take that middle pasuk and split it into 2. Meisvei. Listen to this discussion. The Brisa says, Parsha shashisha psukim. If a parsha which has 6 psukim, Korin oisa b'shnayim. 2 people can split it. 3 and 3. V'shal chamisha. Parsha which only has 5. We'll skip the brackets. Harishan Kaira Gimel. First fellow does 3 psukim. Hasheni Kaira Shnaim. The second does 2 psukim. Mi Parasha Zu. 2 from this parasha. 2 remaining psukim. Echad Mi Parasha Acheres. And he goes on to the next parasha. Past the Pei or the Samach. And does an extra pasuk to give him a total of 3 psukim. Some say no, don't stop there. Gimel. He spills into the next parasha further. Gimel. He does an extra 3 psukim to the next parasha. Why? We don't want to do less than 3 psukim in a parasha. In any case, it's clear in the Brisa that we don't employ any other solution, like repeating, like skipping. Right? We had a parasha of 5 psukim. The Brisa tells you, just go into the next parasha if you're short psukim. What do you mean? Lamandam adoilig lidlig. According to Rav, you meant to repeat. There as well, just repeat psukim. Why do you have to go into the next parasha? Lamandam paisik. According to Shmuel, that you split the pasuk, lifsik. Let him split it there as well. Why do you have to split the next parasha? Shani Hasan there is different. This like Rav, because he has room to spare. Speak about a Monday or Thursday. Just keep on going. Right? You started parashas Pinchas. You got stuck. You're short psukim. Keep on going. But that can't be done by the Ma'amad, because every day had a very specific, unique Kriyas HaTorah for that day. You can just go into the next day, and therefore, you're short psukim. You have to do something. Ram says you repeat, and Shmuel says we split. So what we learned today? Klal Yisrael was split into 24 groups. Down the line, Kohanim, Levim, and Yisraelim. Kohanim and Levim would serve in the Mikdash. Yisraelim, who were living in Yerushalayim, would observe the Karas Karbanis. Yisraelim in the towns would go daven, read the Torah, fast. It's all based on the pasuk, which says, "As Karbani Lachmi Ishai." This is Klal Yisrael's Karban. He meant to be there. Apparently, somebody has to represent Klal Yisrael at the event. Shlucha Shlodim Kamaisei. So how many mishmars did we have? All agree. The final number was 24. Questions regarding the starting point. One Brisa says it started with 8 mishmars in total at the time of Moshe, went up to 16, over to 24. Whereas the other Brisa holds it started with 16, 8 from Elazar, 8 from Isamar, then eventually up to 16 from Elazar, and the 8 of Isamar, a total of 24. Arba mishmaros olam and agoda, beginning of second Beis Hamikdash. Oh, he had four groups, which were then subdivided into a total of 24. We learned the significance of being created with aspirations because the Mamadas and Karbanis keep up the world. They fasted 4 days a week. Monday to Thursday, Erev Shabbos and Shabbos was off because of covered Shabbos, and Sunday was off for 3 reasons. The Noitzrim, Shlishi Liutzira, and I'm concerned about the weakness as a result of the Neshama Yisera being taken away. We only have a parasha, 5 psukim, which leaves us short. What do? Rab says, we repeat one of those psukim. Shmuel says, we take a pasuk and split it into 2. Kol tov to you and Hatzlach Rabbah.